Ray, how you doing, bud?
Good, mate. How you doing?
Doing good. I had some really good discussions today. Got me really excited about a couple of things.
Yeah, nice. Very cool.
Yeah. I'm debating on whether I should just wait until people get on and I'll just share my excitement.
Sure. No, that's sweet.
But yeah, how are things going for you?
Yeah, good. We're just as look, I'm just day by day, week by week. Everything seems to be good. We're throwing a lot of mud, a lot of it sticking. So it's good. Just constantly serving the soil and making things better every day, and it's good. How about you? How's your move going?
Oh, it's coming. We're kind of in this space where we have a little bit of time to wrap up some of the projects that's will be harder to complete down in Panama. So yeah, we got ourselves settled at my parents as much as you can be settled in someone else's home, and we're doing that. And then I got to finish up some of the regeneration pollination work that I'm doing for their branding, because we found a little bit of money to pay me to do the branding for regeneration pollination. And then, so that's a project that we're trying to wrap up. And then I'm actually working on, and this is part of the exciting news, or exciting things that I want to be working on.
Yeah, well, I'm happy to wait. I'll see what happens.
Let's see who shows up today. There was a few people that registered.
Did you get an email? Did you get the email out? Because I don't remember seeing an email this morning.
I got the email out for the beginning of the week. I didn't get today's the day email out this week. I'm just having a hard time keeping up with. There's got to be a better way, and I know we've talked about.
Do you mind turning the music down? Because I'm struggling to hear you a bit. Sorry.
Okay.
Oh, and thanks for the all-nighter recommendation. I'm loving that playlist. Anyway, so you mentioned it a couple of weeks ago, and I've been listening to. I don't know if that was the one. Or you said something about all-nighter.
Yeah.
It's like,
it's like one of my defaults that I always just kind of gravitate to, and I'm like, why not do the all-nighter playlist? I'm listening to it already. Why not just keep it going when it's going on?
No, I love it.
One of those things that you could just like flow out to, right?
Because I used to listen to like beats to think by, but sometimes it's a little bit too trancey and it's a little bit too beaty, and where this is just more mellow and chill, and I like it. So
I like things that are super chill, but then if I do things that don't have any bass, that's the thing. It's like if I do like the study or like the instrumental whatever, and it doesn't have
like
bass,
the jazz piano stuff.
I don't stay awake. It's just like
I use that to put me to sleep.
Exactly.
No, that's good. I was gonna say something. With the email automating it, like because it's the same link, same time every week. Like it doesn't Zoom just have an automatic email that can go out that you don't have to then do yourself? Because it's a repeating.
I can actually just do it in Kajabi and do it as a recurring. The only thing that I'm like, I don't really want to recurring emails are such a pain in the butt. I feel like events, you want to like give an update of what happened last week or kind of something new, but maybe it's not. Maybe I just do the same darn thing. It's like, hey, remember, come to the event. I'm already doing the newsletter. I think I probably will just do it fully automated.
To be honest, like I know you're in marketing and all that, but it's like I've always found we're live in 10 minutes email to be the most powerful. Like people just don't, like even the 60-minute email, like people forget. They're like, oh yeah, that's in an hour. Boom, they go start cleaning the dishes, then they're doing something else. 2 hours later comes back like, oh damn it, I missed it. Like the attention span of people these days is just so little. It like literally is like on demand. Like that's the whole Clubhouse shit, blah blah is live right now. It's that kind of mentality. So I feel like even just doing like a 10-minute email reminder, we're live in 10 minutes, that they seem to work the best,
Yeah. I think that's what I'll do. I'll do automated day of and 10-minute reminder, right?
Or 15 or something like that. But they're just in time. And because you're in the room early as well, like you say like, come join me now, I'm already online.
That's
I just find that I don't know what it is, but I definitely think decision fatigue, and it doesn't matter, like it can be in people's calendars, because I feel like I don't know if the event that comes through GRC has a reminder attached to it.
It does.
It does.
And okay. because they'll send out, because David will redo the event and send out the invite, right?
No, there's no alert to it, man. There is no alert. Like in the actual event. Yeah.
That's maybe another reason why, because sometimes he doesn't always get to it, right? So within there was a calendar. There typically is a calendar invite, and typically David does it, so I don't do it. But sometimes I recognize that he didn't do it, and so I'll do it, right? Because I have access to do it now. But at some points, and I honestly, I've been a little too relaxed with these while I'm in this kind of transition period.
Of course, yeah.
But because I don't want to make it a huge hassle. Because if I'm promoting this enough, we can get like 10, 15. I know it's not doing you a service or not doing others a service not to have anybody here. But I still think our conversations our conversations are like superb, even with the 5 of us or whatever, people that just get on because they know it's happening. And like when MP was consistent and whatnot, and it was just sometimes just you, MP, and I think there's been a couple of those, right? Where we just have some really good conversations. I'm just gonna kind of spill the beans, anyways, even if anybody else. But like, it's not really spilling the beans, but I know what I've been wanting for this for a while, and I've mentioned to you that so there's PC Collab. Are you part of PC Collab?
Yeah, I am somehow. Yeah.
I probably
I don't know how I ended up in there. Yeah, but
I might have recommended it to you along with GRC.
No, this Amy Finch lady reached out to me in some other group. I think her name was Amy Finch or Amy.
I kind of promote GRC and PC Collab. Well, at a certain time, I promoted them equally. Now I promote GRC.
Right.
But yeah, earlier on,
Amy Finchy or something. Anyway,
yeah, I've seen her in there. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know her that well. I know Nenad is the one that was really pushing me to be on PC Collab, and now Nenad is more GRC, and then he kind of decided the same reasons to be that way. But so there's PC Collab, there's GRC. There's Seeds of Dow, there's Farming Secrets that have expressed this type of model is nice to talk with entrepreneurs in the space, right? And then there's now Earth Regenerators, right? And Earth Regenerators, have you run into Earth Regenerators? Earth Regenerators is Joe Brewer, and is kind of the founder for that. And Joe has kind of a following because he's, I believe, written a book. He's been in the scene for a little while, and he is, I would consider him a super connector within the space, right? And Joe actually has been putting these meetings together. He's actually doing, I think, a better job than GRC is of actually like getting people to events and making the events like really interactive, right? And so it's kind of funny because I actually haven't talked to Joe. We've kind of just talked to each other through the people that come to his events and the people that come to my events and in between. And so Joe knows about me, I know about him, but we've never actually chatted together. But I've had 2 conversations just this week with Benji from who's been involved as a facilitator in Earth Regenerators, and now PJ. And PJ is actually running a think tank discussion. He's calling it an incubator program, but he's like, yeah, it's not really an incubator program. It's more so a support group, essentially similar to what ours is, right? And he's like, we have these small periods in between, but we're getting we have small periods in between where no one is actually big enough. Like no one's actually actively running businesses within their program. They're all super idea early stage, right? He's got like one or two in there. Oh, who just hopped? Corey. Hey, Corey. But Corey, I'm giving my update, and then we'll go into Ray's and then yours. So my update. What's really kind of cool with this project that Earth Regenerators is doing is they have consistency of people showing up, right, at a bigger scale. Like he's saying 15 to 30, right? People coming weekly, and he actually had 2 time zones that they were doing that, and then one of them fizzled out. And so this one's really strong, but their problem is they don't have the business background, essentially, where they don't have the tools and incubator tools and whatnot, right? And I pitched him, I think I pitched this to you a little while ago about the doing the Toastmasters model for these platforms, and then having a bigger incubator program beyond that initial, and having it be a nonprofit entity, right? The Toastmasters just doing that, and then connecting with different businesses that all align with having this type of space for people to come together and their own communities to kind of mingle with other communities. Well, there's 5 of us now, and so what I'm proposing is, like, I'm going to put up a pitch deck for just the Toastmasters model and say, what if we did this, right? All of us together, and bring us together to create chapters now. Earth Regenerators has probably got the strongest one. We probably got the second strongest. And then GRC is actually, they're now doing another kind of conversation like this, which I think is kind of redundant or repetitive in the sense that they've been working with me on this one, but they also have someone else that's operating. They want to do it again. But it's essentially another chapter, right? And theirs is still not quite off the GRC's isn't quite off the ground. They got an initial swell of people. Have you gone to it actually?
GRC or
GRC's like incubator conversation, like think tank like this.
Is that co-working session? Do they call it a co-working?
Yeah. Oh, it just showed up on my calendar a little bit ago, and I've been meaning to talk to David about it. It's not the co-working, but it came out of the co-working, I think.
Right. Because I know every Wednesday in my time zone, there's this like worldwide co-working thing. And that's probably like one of the few things that actually I can attend. Everything else is like 2, 3 a.m. in the morning. So apart from this and the co-working on Wednesdays, which even sometimes I can't even make that, they're the only 2 events that I kind of hang out with in GRC. Yeah. I worry about all these think tanks and stuff though. Like, I agree with you. There's probably too many, and some of them are a bit redundant. So it's just mindful of like where energy is going. Like, this is one of the few things that I like to attend weekly. Because otherwise you just give all your attention to these groups and no one's actually doing any work. That's what I don't like about the collab one, whatever it's called. Everyone's talking about what they're doing, but who's doing anything? I don't know. It frustrates me.
And I don't have the time to go to all the GRC things. I just know that they're going on, right? And, And then when they do get into one that I really want to, like, I was working on this community food systems project, and almost it's like more than 9 out of 10. I mean, like, it's like a very small percentage of the projects that actually kind of take off and start actually doing stuff. And that come from like GRC or any of the PC Collab or anything. But I got involved a little bit more heavily in this community food systems, and it's just now it's fizzled out like all the other ones, all the other projects, because they didn't have a strong leader in it. And now that I'm thinking about it, like, what if the same platform for all of these were the same, like a Toastmasters, like what's going in, but they're at the time zones that people want it, and there's multiple organizations bringing people into these, right? So whatever, like we want to get one going for you, Ray, right? We want your time zone, Oceania. We want your community to be able to have this type of place that's more commons based, and I want to be able to direct people that I run into to that, right? And it's similar for all of these other ones that, if we all agreed to have like at least these 5 organizations, and I know there's more out there that are running these type of things right now, got together and we put the same platform, and then and just promoted each other's time zones and those types of things, and everybody found their right place to go to, right? And that they felt comfortable, a chapter for them. I think it.
So would the chapter be location based or topic based?
It could be whatever you wanted to get the community on, but it's all entrepreneurial driven, right? So that's that. Yeah. So you could do one like we're doing right now, where it's multiple time zones, but we would probably try to figure out like, oh, this is the education based one, right? Or this is, or I would essentially see they would be more location based, right? But communities can be topic, can be, chapters would be dependent on who is organizing the chapter, right? And so facilitating the chapter, but we all have essentially a nonprofit that this is operating off of, right? And the nonprofit, it could be actually a fiscally sponsored project for the first bit, right? We don't need to have it be a full nonprofit. And there's just attached to it are these organizations like Farming Secrets, like Seeds of Dow, PC Collab, GRC. And we're saying, come join the world. If you have an idea, or even if you're working on your stuff, come join these mastermind discussions or think tank discussions. And there's some structure to it. And if you want to get more involved, there's a membership to it, right? And so the membership supports the actual event, or the actual chapter, and then it supports the organization itself, right? So you have the nonprofit that's running in the background, but then you have these chapters that are running individually. They have a fund for their membership, and then we have a bigger fund to help bring in stronger resources, right? Marketing, educational resources, courses, and those types of things, right? That's what I'm going to be pitching to all 5 of you guys, right? Myself included. I'm going to put this together, and we're going to just I'm going to pitch everybody individually first, and then I'm going to pitch us together and see if we can come together to do this. That's what's exciting. I know that was long-winded, Corey, and sorry. Thanks for hanging in there. But that's what's exciting in my deck of the woods. Ray, when you get back, I know you have stuff in your ears, so you're listening while you're walking. You could say something, but Corey, go ahead. You start.
It's a little hard for me to follow because I don't know what these groups are that you're talking about.
So essentially, I guess I can follow up a little bit more, Corey. There is a lot of people doing these exact conversations that we're having right now. The kind of think tank discussion, or mastermind, or they call them incubators, but they're not truly incubators. They're more just like support groups for entrepreneurs and for people doing regenerative projects. And I can list 5 of them that I've been connected to and actually have talked to about working together to do these same things that we're doing right now. Right. Um, and so it's like, why don't we do these together? Because they're using it as like a deal flow essentially for, and I'm using it as a deal flow as well to bring entrepreneurs into our ecosystem, right? But like, not everybody can go to the same one. Not everybody has the bandwidth to support. And there's a kind of a commons side of things that no one makes money from people just sharing ideas essentially. And when they're in the idea phase, where people can actually take advantage of, and it's not really taking advantage, well, it's benefiting and adding value on both sides. In this is when entrepreneurs are actually launching projects, they're making money and the incubator is making money, right? And no one is at the incubation size that they're actually getting enough deal flow for and enough growth for these businesses actually putting themselves up. It's all very early stage. So what I'm saying is like that early stage when we're just talking about ideas and stuff, we need to have something that is helping these people sink or float their idea quickly and get them into a real incubator program that's actually getting them to get traction, and or help them to, if that's all they need is just to get their idea going, just be a support group for them as they trickle in. And there's no money in doing that. It's commons. It's just helping people out. It's creating network. It's, you know, figuring out whether or not you want to be involved in this this startup or that startup or partner or whatnot, right? And so we're trying to figure out if we can bring these five, myself included, Farming Secrets, PC Collab, Earth Regenerators, and GRC, to who are running these similar meetings, to come together and create a more systemized, more structured event platform, right? Similar to like a Toastmasters. Are you familiar with Toastmasters, Corey?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it'd be like a Toastmasters for regenerative entrepreneurs, and the focus is helping them to get their idea to sink or float, right? Mm-hmm. Like, let's sink it before, you know, and call it a bad baby or ugly baby before we actually, or let's actually say, oh, you have a good idea. Here's how you would take this. Here's some ways to take this to market, type of deal.
Yeah.
Or get to work on this, right? Does that make sense now, Corey?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so that's something exciting that I'm going to be working on as soon as I finish up some other projects. So like around the 22nd, I'm going to be building this pitch deck and then talking to Ray about it, talking to David, the Davids from GRC and guys from PC Collab and Earth Regenerators as well, and pitching this.
Awesome. And so just on that, what will be the pitch? What's the problem you're solving on that pitch? Like, and maybe you haven't gone into this detail yet, but what's the why do you feel that this needs to be addressed?
Because we're all doing the same darn thing, and we're not building enough traction around it, right? Yep. We're building, and our resources are spread thin in doing it, right?
Gotcha.
And so we're gonna work together and share resources and see where people want to go anyways. Like, farmers might be more interested in joining Farming Secrets ecosystem after they get involved in, and let's share that together, right? Yep. Let's, like, we all sink or float in this regenerative movement. So some people might be more aligned with Seeds of DAO and the stuff that we're building out. Some people, you know, Earth Regenerators is actually more lifestyle. And so they don't necessarily get a lot of entrepreneurs, but they get a lot of people that are like, I maybe want to try entrepreneurship or try to make a livelihood out of this. And so they're getting a lot of people early stage,
especially after COVID.
Yeah,
where people
exactly.
losing jobs
and then,
like,
and so it's like, do I really want to be an entrepreneur? Do I really want to make a livelihood out of it? And that's the type of people Earth Regenerators are getting in. So they would bring people into that way. PC Collab, they get a bunch of just people wanting to do permaculture projects, and it's very similar to Earth Regenerators, but they have this like feel like they want to do businesses. Yeah, that one's a weird one. I don't know that PC Collab will get involved, but if we got everybody else involved, they might come in because they feel left out, right? But everybody else, I think I think I don't know, do you see value in this, Ray, something like this?
Yeah, and I don't understand the money side of it, so I'm assuming that people would pay to come along to these.
So yeah, so membership, it would be free for anybody attending an event, right? Just coming, you can come weekly, but you're not a member. And when you become a member, you get to get involved in some of the accountability measures, the canvassing is what I assume we're going to probably be doing to help people get through some of the business idea phase stuff of it. And then once they're done with their canvassing, helping them to do MOCR program, right? Or a similar MOCR. And that could lead into greater incubation program later, helping them to get funding, being part of a network, or receiving some real education for specific pieces, right? But that is all essentially free to them and the membership is like $30 every 6 months. 20 of it goes to the actual organization. $10 goes to the cohort or the chapter, right? Okay. And so that just lifts us up to be able to operate, but everybody else can attend free. Like you can contribute, do all that stuff. You just can't be involved in the incubation programs because that costs money for us to manage and bring stuff on, and it helps us to pay for Zoom accounts and those types of things, right? And so it's nonprofit, totally nonprofit, and it's just operating to help us stand up the commons of the community, the regenerative entrepreneurial community.
Yeah, no, I see value in that. So yeah, I see that, and yeah, I think I need to see the pitch deck a little bit more. Look, at the end of the day, I've been coming to these for like the last year and a half, if not longer. So time investment, it's here already. If we can make some more monetization out of it and increase the consistency and like the skin in the game for everyone, because I think at the moment, everyone is basically just event fatigued. It's pulled in every different direction. Everyone's sitting on Zoom calls. And yeah, so, but I think also like having a given, like in Melbourne, I don't know, in your part of the world, if you've got like permablitz kind of programs where it's like you have to give before you take, a bit of an ethos around that. Because I feel like sometimes people come here, they just take a lot and then they leave and you never see them give to others, and so it's almost like people pick up here when they need something, like, oh, I've got promoting this, or I've got this going on. Yeah. And then it's like, well, then where are you when everyone else needs help? So I think rewarding the people who are consistently showing up and giving more than what they take. And that's what permablitz is all about. Like, you need to go and help other people blitz their permaculture garden. I think it's like 3 or 4 times before you're even allowed to nominate yourself to be one of their permablitz sites. And then you can qualify to submit your site to be permablitzed, and then the team will come and permablitz your backyard. So I think that like encouraging more of that give and take, give, like jab, right hook, Gary Vee style, that kind of stuff where people, need to show that they're proactive and consistent around that. Because it's a little bit exhausting sometimes, like when people are here and you kind of give all this information and advice, and then it's like the following week you want to share a challenge, and then there's like 3 people here. It's like, where's everyone when I need them, kind of feeling,
and then it gets put on to me, you, anybody else that's consistent to promote these, to get people to show up, to share their stuff. And so they do their pitch essentially, and then they never show up again for afterwards. Right. And it is frustrating. So, but I think there'll be some, I think, so adding some different things into it. So like, we want to make this inclusive, but that's the problem with, I think, the permaculture and regenerative movement to a fault, is like, let's make everything free. And we've had this conversation, and it
100%.
never actually makes people get skin in the game. But I do want to make it open and available for people. So there'll be scholarships, there'll be, you know, pay it forward type of deal. Like someone could pay for you know, themselves and then pay for two others, right? And we'll put it in a pot, and whoever can't afford it can sign up for the ability. Everybody should be able to afford $30 every 6 months, right? It's like a no brainer. Even in, I mean, we can, you know, Africa or some other areas where there's a lot of
$5 a month. It's ridiculous.
Subsistence stuff, right? We can figure out some other ways, right? It's really, there's going to be the availability for everybody, but I think that would pay for the needs of operating this, and even bring in, if we get the goal is to do masses, right, and have a ton of these operating and do a numbers game of like how many ideas. We even do challenges of like 10,000 ideas to get to regeneration or something like that, right?
And even like hackathons, you know, little things where we can all kind of like group together and be like, you know, like just go mass on something, whether it be like promoting a webinar that's coming up, but like everyone goes out and like guerrilla marketing promotes it, you know. Look, for a long time, Josh, I know you and I have spoken about this. I've tried to work out a way, how do I fit what I like, sitting here every fortnight, how I fit this into our normal marketing mix. And I've promoted it a couple of times, but it just, it's taken a little, it's harder to get. See, my community kind of wanted to hang out with me in our virtual classroom. And that's every second Thursday. Getting them to come to something weekly on a Friday, it's possible, but it's just like, how much time commitment do I? And maybe this has got nothing to do with our members. Maybe it's more got to do with the wider public.
Well, I see it.
Maybe this is more about like the public audience.
You share it with your current community, but you're also sharing it. It's a way to even open it up for those that are kind of zero moment of truth, right? Like even before they're a part of your community and they want to be involved, it's like, this is where everybody comes to create great ideas in regeneration, right? And we build this off as a entity that we work on together, and we get sponsors, we get, you know, all sorts of different things, but we're all working on this together to build out regenerative ideas. And the problem is ideas are a dime a dozen. It's the people that are actually going to take those to action. And what we're doing is we're trying to get as many people as we can to actually take action. And it's a numbers game. It really is.
Yeah.
Give them the ability to start sharing their ideas, get them to sink or float, maybe move them on to the next idea. And they take this process over and over again. And they say, oh no, Farming Secrets has what I want. Right. Because they have these amazing courses that teach me how to regenerate the soil, and they have a support group that's, you know, keeping me in line with the things that I want to do as a regenerative farmer. Or, you know, we have a tech company that's trying to be regenerative, and it fits more. And I feel like I fit more towards that line of regenerator rather than the farmer. I may in the future.
Yeah, same. Regenpreneur. I like the word regenpreneur and creating a community around that, because not everyone has access to land, but the regenpreneurs are the ones that help bridge and activate and fast track that as well, you know. So
yeah, so if we could just get all of that going, I think it would be good.
Easy. Yeah,
it's gonna be
like a switch.
We're gonna get it done in a month, right?
Yeah. No, I agree. So yeah, I'd be happy to workshop that with you. And
okay,
yeah,
I'll build the pitch deck out. It'll be similar, a 10-slide pitch deck, similar to what I did with the other one that you saw.
Yeah.
And
you're still moving on to the land. That's still all happening.
It's still all happening.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
When's
October
that
2nd.
actually hit? Okay.
October 2nd. Yeah. So yeah, and this is in line with what Shaheen and Carrie are wanting to do as well. but they're wanting to do it more physical location based, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, and with the high, yeah, it's going to get us to, we want to get funding deal. We want to get to funding some of these entrepreneurial endeavors. Shaheen and Carrie are seed venture capitalists. They want a little bit of deal flow, but we also want to bring in, they can't fund bigger project, like really big projects, right? So we want to be able to also have those type of partners in here. So hopefully there's some progression to this, right? Get people get going on our ideas kind of grassroots style, and
Yep.
yeah, bring it into something. There's a lot of moving pieces to it, but I think this is a piece that I'm willing to devote some. I've already devoted a significant amount of time to building out the pre incubation incubator, right? That's essentially what this is, right? Yeah. Corey, I'm sorry, we're chatting. Do you have any thoughts or want to chime in with what's exciting with you, and then we can kind of take it away into challenge mode?
You mean like successes I've had in the week?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Remember my flower planting project, guerrilla gardening? I walked through and counted how many have sprouted now. I'm up to 54. Yeah.
Yes.
54 new nasturtium flower plants are growing.
Awesome.
Wow.
In that public space. So there's probably a few more coming, but it's been 2 weeks now since I planted the seeds. So
yeah,
not a lot more coming, but some.
Yeah. Well, I guess you're probably getting a good understanding. And how many did you try? How many seeds did you try to throw out?
Somewhere around 300.
Somewhere around 300. So there's some numbers games to kind of maybe play around with. Like I threw out 300, 27 grow. If I wanted to get how many more, what would that be like? Right.
Yep. I've been doing that.
Cool.
I've been estimating how many seeds I'll get from these 54 plants, and how many more equal size spaces I could plant. And it came to 57. So
very cool. Yeah, I want to. You should be taking pictures of this too. Have you been?
No.
Try to visually document this if you can.
Well, actually, now would be the time to start, because the plants are just this tall right now.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
But yeah, I'm gonna have so many seeds. I'm really not gonna know what to do with them. I don't see myself planting 57 equal sized spaces by myself anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So
but if you started it,
huh?
Do you know anybody in the area that might want to do a similar thing alongside you? Like,
not yet, but yeah, that's what I think it would take, is someone else's help to, just use the seeds. Even if I wanted to sell the seeds, I don't have any kind of distribution method for that. I'd have to start a store. I don't want to do that, especially not for when I grew in the public space. I feel like it kind of belongs to the public. And I don't want to start a seed selling company on something I started growing on public land, because all that's going to do is encourage other people to start their seed company using the plants I planted. And then we're all going to be down there fighting over the seeds. That's not going to work. And
I still think,
but yeah, if someone else wants to take the seeds and plant some other, part of town, go for it. I like that. And
the seed sharing program, and it can stem from it, and the seed bank, and getting people gardening and getting people out. That may not be the business model, but it could be the business model of like teaching and helping people to guerrilla garden, and there might be something that comes of that. Is there anything new with the developments of your
house?
Well, the house and also your, I know you've been struggling with the builder, so you're kind of a little bit at a standstill. But the web program that you're building out, the funding program, micro lending.
Yeah. A little more progress on that. Yeah. And that is, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. We found some existing software that we can modify. We think we can modify to serve our purpose, and we're kind of exploring it right now. Today we got it uploaded and modified a lot of like the words and stuff because it's hard to explain because without just telling you all about it. But we think we found some software we can use. I'll just summarize with that.
Awesome.
Today was like the first time I was able to like try it. And I tried it and I thought, yeah, I think this will work. And so now we're kind of going over all the little details. And if it works, what we're going to do is we're going to try it on a very small scale, just kind of see, give it a dry run. But we're also trying to figure out how we can get, how we're going to spread it, to other people.
Yeah.
That's actually the bigger challenge.
Once you get the program going. Yeah.
Yeah. My theory is if it's something that I am interested as a business owner, other business owners will probably or might be interested in it. So maybe that's just good enough to go with.
Mm-hmm.
That's a solid of enough foundation there to start with. But
yeah, I think it could be even something that we can mastermind here as well. I wanted to also give Ray a moment, but do you feel complete on the update?
I'm all good. Yep.
Okay.
No, I'm good. Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm excited, when you talk about like fundraising and how you're going to charge people for memberships and how you're going to start a project I'm not sure exactly what you were saying earlier. Did you say you need funding for your project in Panama?
No, so funding on other entrepreneurs' projects. So as an incubator for that, one of the models for an incubator one of the revenue models for an incubator program is actually the more projects that you lift up and start to fund, you can either be a part of them and get some money from them, or you become you actually are equity owner. So that's one model. Another model is you attach yourself to other funders that can fund them, and you get like essentially like a finder's fee for helping fund the project or the business, right? And so a lot of incubator programs, that's how they get their. And it's also
you're talking about creating a system here.
Yeah, creating a entire ecosystem for entrepreneurs to get their projects to different stages of their business, whether they're bootstrapping or not, right? Is essentially what, this is like the alpha test of what we're trying to build here for an incubator program. And essentially right now, this is a support group for entrepreneurs. And it's kind of the beginning, because no ideas are nothing until they're actually have some traction around them. And so we're trying to get them to go. But does that make more sense when I'm talking about?
Yeah. Okay. So what I was saying is, when I hear you talk about raising money, basically, I keep thinking about my project and I just get like frustrated because I want to help, I want to be able to say, hey, I got it. I know what you can do. I know how you can raise some money here, but I can't say anything. I can't say much right now because it's just, there's nothing there yet. And if I talk about it too much, I'm partly I don't have all the details worked out. Partly I'm worried about some other people copying my idea or beating me to it, something like that. So I can't say too much. But so when I hear this, people expressing their needs for money, I just have to go, just, bite my tongue and think, keep working at it. Just keep working at it. I'll be able to help soon.
I don't know if Ray's told you this, but I also say it too. Like, there's actually a really good TED talk on this exact thing, and can't remember if it's called the coffee house effect or he just mentions that the coffee house effect. Have I shared that with you, Ray? The TED talk?
No, but I know exactly what you're about to say.
Yeah. So like, there's this TED talk that kind of helped me introduce this idea, and I got to find the TED talk again. And I've shared it with so many people, but It's been a little while since I've shared it. Essentially, all these really good ideas are nothing until they actually, go and the entrepreneur actually takes them. And there's very few people that actually take them through. So it doesn't really hurt to share your idea. And in fact, it helps your idea. And they call this the coffee house effect. When you get in and you go to the coffee house with your entrepreneurial buddies and you start sharing everything, they are not going to steal your idea. They're going to add to it most of the time, like 99% of the time, I would say, right? There'll be someone that probably takes the idea. Did you find it for me? But the big thing is being able to get that idea, get through the uncomfortableness. Like you're saying, like, I can't really help you right now, but I want to be able to help you. And part of it is I don't really know what's going on, or I don't really know how this is all going to work. Well, the way you get to know how this is really going to work is you start talking to other people. And the example that this person gives in the TED Talk about this coffee house effect is that's how GPS came about. GPS would have never come about if it wasn't for the coffee house effect of bunch of scientists, bunch of entrepreneurs, bunch of people coming together and talking about a problem about locating a specific satellite orbiting the Earth. I'm trying to find this satellite. I want to be able to know where this satellite is at any given point. And then someone else from the Defense Department that was there was talking to another entrepreneur and said, well, can you do the reverse of that, right? And could you find it from anywhere on Earth? Could you pinpoint a location, right? And so they go, oh, I bet you we could. Run the math, and they have a bunch of scientists and entrepreneurs and business people and government people working together on this. And they spend 2 weeks just talking about this. This is the story. I'm maybe telling it wrong and leaving out stuff and adding stuff. I don't know. But by the end of a couple weeks or fortnight or whatever it is, they are able to figure out where the satellite is, where anything is on the ground, and they figure out GPS. Now they have something to actually do something with. And who's actually going to do something with this? Well, everybody that was involved in it, right? Because they all have their little piece that they could use to move this forward. So I'm okay sharing all of this stuff on a recorded session about an idea that I would like to start for the regenerative entrepreneurial movement, without even any of one of these 5 people that I mentioned, GRCs. Ray can just go and steal my idea, right, and do the same thing that I'm saying, and he knows how to do it, right? Like, to some degree, maybe he could go out and do that, but more likely, both of us are going to figure out a way that we can do this that benefits us all to be able to do this. Like, I'm sharing this really early stage thing with you right now. Corey, if you're willing to start opening up and sharing, even though it's recorded, I bet you we're going to figure out how to make it happen, and you can take it forward, because I don't have the freaking time to take your crap forward, but you are passionate about it, and you lead it through. It's just like this another community food system that I was and I was kind of chatting with Ray about it. Community food systems, or what was it? Yeah, project that was trying to map out the community food systems, very early stage stuff, and there was someone leading the discussion of it, of the idea, but no one was willing to take that through and actually lead people to making that happen. So be the entrepreneur, essentially, to make that happen. There was people talking about it, and actually the person that brought it up, I won't even say names because it's kind of probably a sore subject for him right now, and it's a little sore subject of for me to not see, to devote some time to it and it not go through, because the entrepreneur or the potential entrepreneur in this wasn't willing to take it through. And I see this happen over and over and over again. And it's just a freaking idea. But it got some momentum, but there was no one leading it through. And so it's very, very hard for us to get past the first thing, get past the idea phase and into it. And that's why a lot of people won't actually steal your idea. And the second is we never get to that phase without the cooperation of the community and using the coffee house effect, right? So share your idea, get it out there, and work through it, unless it has severe intellectual property, right?
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, your idea probably doesn't. I don't think it's the next. Yeah.
Even if it is the next Google, who cares? But if anyone says, I've got an idea, I want to talk to you, but before we talk, we have to sign an NDA, I automatically say I'm not interested. Because that person is coming from scarcity and fear, and that's not the energy that I want around me. And so that's the energy that you're breathing into your project. You're scared that someone's going to steal it. You're fearful for sharing it because someone might steal your idea. Everyone is too busy trying to make their idea happen. Especially if you're in rooms of busy people and entrepreneurs, they're all working on their own idea. Josh is right. Dreamcatcher course, I could watch it and re-record my own version of it. I can go on Udemy and buy any single course.
Not the Dreamcatcher course anymore. It's the Dreamseek course.
There you go.
I did change it.
So it's like, there is so much out there that you could just like go and copy. And in fact, there's a big business guru called Sam Ovens. He actually encourages all his students to watch his courses and just copy the content because it's mindset. And he didn't invent it. He's just a connector. And he knows that the more people that are out there talking about what he talks about, like think about the burger chain industry. There's McDonald's, there's Burger King, there's Hungry, look at how many burger shops there are and they're all thriving. So competition is also validation. And if someone steals your idea, that says more about them and their method, their values will come unstuck because you're coming from authenticity and integrity. They're coming from stealing and destruction. And most people who are in tune with people's energy and vibration will see, hang on a minute, something doesn't seem right here. And so, this is why I have created the Regen Ray persona, because you can go and steal my stuff, but you can never be Regen Ray. It's Regen Ray that coaches people through the soil education. We're teaching stuff that Elaine Ingham spoke about. We're teaching stuff about, Gabe Brown and Peter Andrews and all these gurus, but it's when you embed yourself into your business and brand that becomes unique. And in my experience, the more times I've shared really good top secret ideas, the quicker I've either validated that they're great ideas or that they're really bad ideas. Because you could also be working on something that's really, really good in your mind. And I did this with a coffee app once. We built an entire coffee app. We kept it top secret. I talk about this on my podcast. And we didn't speak to cafe owners because we're worried that they were going to steal it. We didn't speak to other people. It was all about incentivizing people to drink coffee and share data to the cafes and this whole marketing thing. And then we launched this app that cost us about $16,000 to build. And it was flawed. It was broken. Cafe owners didn't want it. Drinkers didn't want it. And we just threw it in the bin. Like that was the name of the little talk. It was like my $16,000 app bin idea, because then when we got to the end of it, we had to reprogram everything because we got this wrong. And, back then, this was like probably, 10 years ago, people weren't ready for QR codes, And so we had all this amazing tech that we thought was ingenious and going to revolutionize the way that you drank coffee and save you heaps of money. The cafe owners didn't want it and the drinkers didn't want it. And that was all because we didn't share the idea early enough to get validation. And then after that, I discovered Lean Startup and the Startup Canvas and minimum viable product. But that's because it came out of pain. I've gone, how the hell did I stuff this up when I'm so business driven and tech driven and an early adopter? And then I realized that it's because my business partner and I, we just thought that we were going to become the next biggest appreneurs, and we stupidly built it native for Apple and Android when we could have just built a mobile friendly website, anyone who gets into app development now, I say, don't even build an app. Don't write one line of code. Build a mobile-friendly website first that's easy to code. Developers will buy the bucket load, and then validate that it works as a web version, and then go build the app. Because now you have validation. And in fact, you might realize you never build the app because building apps and updating apps are a pain in the ass. And Apple controls your data, where when you have a mobile-friendly website, you control everything. So these are all lessons that have come from trying to protect an idea. And scarcity, NDAs, things like that, I just feel like they don't set you up for success. So hopefully that helps, and you can tell me to go shove my ideas up. But it's just be okay with sharing. Everyone's in their own mind trying to work on their own business. Same as Josh and I early on started talking about, oh, I'm doing this and you're doing this. Josh has never taken any of my ideas and I've never taken any of his ideas. We're all still in education. We're still trying to change the world. We're being game changers. We run think tanks and Zoom masterminds and all this other stuff. And never ever do I feel like we're in competition to each other.
Well, yeah, I totally agree with you about this. What you said about scarcity and abundance, that mindset. And what's funny about that is here I am trying to protect my idea, but the whole idea is about providing abundance. So I'm kind of contradicting myself there. But and another thing is I've had I have ideas all the time, and I've had ideas I thought were great, and I needed help, and I go to people, and I can't get them to steal my idea if I paid them. So I feel like if I was the first guy to invent the car, and I told somebody, they'd say, well, how's it going to go underwater and fly? And I'd say, well, it's not. It's just going to be for land. They'd say, oh, call me when you get it to fly and go underwater. And I feel like that's how people are with ideas a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because I've tried to give people my ideas too. I'm like, I love this idea so much that I want someone else to steal it and do it for me. I just want to see it come to market. I don't want to own it, and it never eventuates anywhere.
No, they're not gonna. They don't.
I got a lot of those ideas. Or you have someone that says that they want to do something that you have come up with. This is funny. So there's a lot of people that have the same idea and they're really passionate about it. And you've had the same idea and you maybe wanted to explore it. And I run into this all the time actually. And I'm like, well, I've been working on that idea for a little bit, right? And I did this work or whatever, and I give them my understanding and research about it. And then they go, huh, this is really, really interesting. They never do anything with it, right? Yeah. Or you tell them that you're willing to work with them on the side, and this is more what's happened more recently with I'm willing to be a part of your project early stage, right? And just kind of give you ideas, be a consultant, be a whatever, to kind of see you work through some of these early stages, because I believe in what you're doing. And the entrepreneur doesn't follow through on what they're doing. I see that more than anything else. Is ideas are so cheap. Yeah. And the funny thing is people want funding for their ideas before they actually take action on them. And it's so frustrating to see in the entrepreneurial realm of I have this wonderful idea. I just need to get funding for it. What? You don't get it. You really don't. The idea is worth nothing until you can actually say that there's work done on it. There's hours put into it, that there's sweat into it. And entrepreneurs need to get that into their head and before they start going for funding or trying to find this or that, or saying that I have the next greatest thing that's going to solve the world's problem, when they actually haven't put their freaking sweat into it, right? It's so frustrating to see. I see that more than any other thing, and that's why you share an idea. It's just, if you don't share an idea, it's just going to remain an idea, right? Until you actually share it and get it out in the world, and you start working on it and getting feedback and having a feedback loop of what's actually happening.
Okay, you guys ready?
We're ready. We've been ready.
Okay. Now we got this build up. Okay. This idea I have it's a fundraising idea. in which the source of the funds comes through a gift certificate donation. So let's say you want to raise money for something. Instead of going to somebody, in what I'm thinking of is business owners. So you go to a business owner, and instead of saying, hi, I have this great cause, can I have some money? Because that's the way fundraising seems to be majority of now. It boils down to saying, can I have some money? I have a great idea. I have a really sad story. Can I have some money? And what my idea would do is say, you'd walk up and say, can I have a gift certificate? So now that gives them the power to create the money, so-called money. I call it currency, but so they're creating currency on their own. They don't have to earn it first. They don't have to sell their product, pay their taxes, you know, go down to the ATM and get it and then give it to you. No, they can just write it on a piece of paper, gift certificate. Here you go, Josh, boom. Okay, now as a fundraiser, what are you gonna do with that gift certificate? Let's say it's for a product that you don't really want. Well, you put that for sale and you transfer that gift certificate into bank issued currency. So like, for example, you'd sell it for dollars. In Colombia, you'd sell it for pesos. And basically what this does is it frees up business owners to make donations really easily. I mean, really, it doesn't cost them hardly anything to make a donation, but the recipient can turn that in to 100% of the retail value of that product that's on the gift certificate. So everybody wins. And if no one buys it, then the person who donated it doesn't lose anything. So here's how it came up. Okay, now when the fact that I'm building this house and I'm going to rent out. Now my research indicates that a successful hotel books 30% of the time, meaning 70% of the time it's not booked. So what am I doing with that 70%? Nothing. I get no value out of that. Well, what if I could donate 70% of that time on a gift certificate to some good cause? They can turn around and try to sell them. And if they sell them, they get 100%. Okay, now even get down to more nitty gritty here. Let's say I want to invite you guys to come visit my place. And I say, when you get here, it's free. Okay, so I don't need to send you a gift certificate for that. But you're going to have to pay for airfare to get here. So what I'm going to do is give you a gift certificate that's going to equal what you're going to end up paying for an airline ticket. So I'm going to buy your airfare, but I'm going to do it by sending you a gift certificate. Once you get the gift certificate, you put it up for sale. You send an email to all your friends and family, say, hey, I got a gift certificate for this awesome finca down in Colombia. It's a great vacation. Anybody interested? The second you get someone to buy it, let's say I make that gift certificate a value of $1,000, a week stay. You sell it, you give, and just to encourage them to buy it, you give them 20% off. Now you sell it for $800. Okay, they're getting a discount. You're getting your $800. You're getting you use the $800 to buy your plane ticket, and you get here, right? When that person who bought the gift certificate comes, all I have to do is give them a week's stay in my place, which 70% of the time it was free anyway. So it's almost like I didn't lose anything. So I bought your plane ticket and it didn't cost me a dime. Now you could say, now in this case, I'm using the plane ticket as an example, but what else could you buy with that money? You could plant a new garden. You could build a road. You could install a water filtration system. I mean, you could do anything. All kinds of good causes would come up. And if you get the whole world, every business owner out there issuing gift certificates as a donation, and we create a marketplace, where you can sell these gift certificates fast and easy, every good cause can just start getting done like today. Instead of people saying, well, yeah, the government wants to fix that, but they just never have the funds. We don't have a budget. It's not in this year's budget. Well, it's crap. I want to do my own fund. I'm going to do a gift certificate fundraiser, and we'll have this thing done next week. And all these little projects will start getting done. Playgrounds will start getting new playground equipment, and people will get, blind people will start getting seeing eye dogs, and I mean, other whatever. There's billions of good causes,
Yeah.
but it'll all start
No,
getting done.
I think there's a few
That's-
people that are actually working in this space. And
Really?
Ray, maybe do you have, I know you have some thoughts too. I'm gonna let you go let you go first, because I think I have some maybe potential. They may not be doing it in this specific way, Corey, but I think there might be some people that I think you should talk to in line with what you're doing.
So as you were talking, you reminded me of, I don't know if you've come across these platforms. One's called BBX World and one's called bartercard.com. So these came to mind when you were explaining, because it seems similar. It seemed similar, maybe, or maybe I just got too fixated on this. But the whole point of these programs, and I understand what you're saying, it's like, so you're basically giving things that would be free anyway. On that point, though, it's not technically free, because you still have to clean these spaces, and there are some hard costs on that. So we'll create extra labor, and you've got to book them in, and you've got to show them to the room. So there is some kind of effort or energy or investment in getting these empty rooms occupied. But Bartercard, I was a member of this many years ago. It's basically like a bartering economy. So I've got a sheep, you've got chickens, but I don't need chickens right now, but you really need a sheep. So I give you the sheep, and then I get barter credits, and then I go and stay at a hotel. And so it creates that barter economy where we get to swap services, but I might not want exactly what you're offering, but you need what I'm offering. So traditional bartering means, hotel, flight, and you change that. But so when you were speaking, it kind of like, I think maybe some of the models, the only thing that I also want to say is, going in this space is heavily legislated, because you're creating an IOU, which could be seen as a credit note. So there may be some kind of like financial licensing and all that. Then my last point is, F the traditional banking system and credits and money and fiat. And I see that like blockchain technology could totally help with the general ledger of who owes what to who, and seeing those transactions publicly. So looking at some blockchain technology solutions where some of this transaction stuff is happening for exchange of services and goods and things like that. So they were my points that came to my mind. I understand what you're doing, and this is the way that Bartercard pitched the idea to me many years ago. Is I was selling LED lighting at that point, so environmentally friendly LED lighting, and they said, well, if you're selling this light bulb for $100, but it only costs you $30, you are now getting $100 worth of credits, and then you go and buy a car with that. You've bought a $100 car that really cost you only $30. So it's about trading in wholesale perceived value economies. So that's kind of the way that they pitched it. And I see the same, like I just got a lot of similarities when you were talking. I thought Bartercard was only in Australia, but I realized that they have a global brand. So yeah, that were my top level thoughts on that. And I think your idea is great for utilizing resources that are empty anyway, and then creating an economy on that gives everyone what they need. There's a bit of time. So with your flight example, it's like you give a voucher to Josh, he then goes to sell that voucher so he can pay for his flight. But what about if he doesn't sell it in time? Then how does he book his flight and so forth? So there's like the timing side of it. And I would also spend some time exploring what it's like creating a marketplace. So they call it the chicken and the egg syndrome. So eBay gets validated when people list products, but people won't list products until there's buyers to buy those products. So there is this kind of chicken and egg syndrome where marketplaces take a little while to get off the ground and almost a near that's the most challenging thing, is how do you get users, like your buyers and sellers, to come at the same rate to make it validated. Uber had this same problem as well. Restaurants want to list, but there's no drivers to deliver the food. Drivers want to drive, but there's no restaurants listing. So it's the chicken and the egg kind of, or what I call chicken and egg syndrome. And growing a marketplace. So I would go down the path of learning the challenges of building a marketplace. We don't really use Grays Online, or whatever you call it. Is it Grays Online? Craigslist, sorry. We don't really use Craigslist in Australia, but that's one of those places where it's like, getting a marketplace off the ground is somewhat challenging.
Yeah.
So they were my top level thoughts that came to mind as you were speaking.
Well, I definitely got to check out Bartercard. That sounds interesting.
The links are in the chat, and there's also BBX World. I can't remember what BBX stands for, but it's, these two are basically competitors to the space. Yeah. And so, yeah, I got the idea. It was very challenging though, because some people go, well, how do I pay my bills with Bartercard? So it's awesome. And that's what happens a lot of the times with these barter cards, is like, for instance, in my situation, I was selling a lot of lights to people who in commercial buildings who wanted to convert their lights to LED. And then I'd rack up all these credits, and then it's like, well, now what? Like, I've got all this money that I can't pay my electricity bill with, or I can't pay my rent. I can go on a holiday, but I don't have time for a holiday. I'm running a business, so it became a bit problematic when people earned too many barter points, which was a dollar to dollar ratio from memory. And the other little dilemma that used to exist with this company is they used to charge their service fee in fiat money. And everyone was like, if you believe in Bartercard so much, why are you charging your service fees in fiat money, And so there was a little bit of a like, it was just like, it was a bit weird. It's like, oh, you're taking my fees in Australian dollars, but you want me to collect and spend Bartercard, but there were people who literally sold houses and cars on Bartercard, and it's been around for a very long time. This is almost like very early day kind of business. They used to use like actual carbon copy credit card machine things to collect everyone's points and exchange values, and you'd send them off and then collect all your points. It's a very old system, so it's got validation and legs if you want to go look into that.
Yeah, well, I'll definitely study it. Thanks.
I'm not for sure if they're running a similar program on a donation basis, but there's Bobby Fishkin. Have you run into Bobby Fishkin, Ray? Corey, you might have run into.
Is he in the Pollinator group?
He's in the Pollinator. He's been a co-host in Pollinators, right?
Yeah, we were paired up last time.
Okay, so yeah, Bobby at Crowd Doing, they may have. I think I've heard that they have a project within their ecosystem that is doing something similar, of like donations, trying to basically like a transfer of unused resources, essentially, right?
Mm-hmm.
And being able to put them in a pool that people can take from, that help move things forward, right? And it's basically what Ray was saying, of building this marketplace of Bartercard. That's more of the actual barter, like in the current system of it's not a give economy, essentially, right? And what you're trying to build is a give economy, right? And I know Bobby would be a really good one to talk to, because what he's trying to do is, Crowd Doing is putting together a bunch of resources together, and essentially doing it through volunteerism, right? And so what you could do is talk to Bobby and say, I have this idea for this, and I know you have access to a lot of volunteers and a bunch of different skill sets and teams and those types of things, right? maybe we could try this out, because he'll go in, they'll try to estimate the resources that are needed and see if they can build out some type of way that volunteer crowds can actually accomplish this type of thing. And that might be a piece that you'll need to actually build out the marketplace, because you're going to have to get some headway in the marketplace, like Ray was saying, right, to actually make this viable. But if you already had a ton of people crowdsourced essentially to actually make this happen, like, all of the, he would go in and try to, because he understands how to crowdsource things and how to do things through, that's why he named his business Crowd Doing, right? And that's their model. How could you crowdsource the market essentially really quickly? And maybe there's some solutions there. So I just wanted you to be aware of what Bobby's doing, and maybe it aligns, maybe it doesn't, but I would reach out to him and chat with him about it. And
Okay.
you've already met him, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that's super cool. It's kind of funny. I met him because I wasn't talking about this. It didn't.
That's the lesson
Wow.
that you need to learn. See, that this is not ironic, don't you think? Like, just think about that. Let's take a moment. You had an idea that you were not comfortable sharing. You shared it. Josh connected you with the person who you were spending time with last week.
Yeah.
The dots
And
are
what's
already
cool,
there.
what's cool is regeneration this is why regeneration pollination exists, right? So I'm gonna do my little spiel about regeneration pollination, which is tomorrow, by the way. And it should work with your time, Ray, because it is 6 p.m. my time. So a little bit after, if you can make it. If you haven't been able to make it, but yeah, this is why we have regeneration pollination, and this is why we share resources together. And I need to teach, I want to teach people, and I'm going to talk with Lauren about this more, who's our director at Regeneration Pollination, to help people to understand this concept of, like, we need to be sharing, we need to be not having the scarcity mindset, but having an abundant mindset where we are just sharing what we're excited about. And we're also excited about it that we get crap done because we want to see everybody succeed, right? That's why regeneration pollination is there. So yeah, come tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm going to be there tomorrow. That's a good time for me.
Cool. I'll be doing tech.
Awesome.
So I won't be actually meeting people. I guess I do get to meet people, but I don't get to go into rooms with you guys.
Well, my dream is that this would catch on and everybody's doing it and there's world peace.
Yes.
Everybody, all these, but I thought, and I also kind of thought, the first group I want to share it with are like regenerative farmers, because they're going to do, in my opinion, the most good with it.
Well, and I think it'd be kind of cool to see if you can get a place that has like, you start like bioregionally, but there's a lot of, like, Australia probably is the closest to this, or some parts of Canada that are doing a lot of regenerative stuff. But like, I have this tractor here that I don't use on these days. You pay for gas and you pay, there's all of these different types of resources that we can put into this give economy that can lift each other up. And we just don't realize it, or we're too scarcity mindsets to actually, put it into the pot essentially for us to move things forward. But if we could find a community that's like-minded, like you said, like the regenerative ag community, it might be a good test market to place this in, that could give it a little bit more legs and move it into other areas, right? I think you'll probably have to find that lateral of what type of, if you're creating a give economy, what type of communities already are working in that. And I think regeneration in the permaculture community is probably your best bet for this, right?
Yeah.
And I think timing is also really important too. Like, I think a lot of these give economies and alternative trades have never really, I don't know, I think the society wasn't ready for it. I'm pretty sure I think it's like the repair cafes and things like that I know there's something, I watched a documentary once where a town started their own like little economy, and like it's been a thing, but I feel like now in any time in history, people are like really losing faith in governments and currency. And this is why blockchain and cryptocurrencies are taking off, because people are like, is the banking system really going to survive? Like, you know, and so I feel like people are really open now to try different methods, which is the reason why crypto is exploding right now. People say, yeah, it might be risky, but so's keeping money in the bank. And so's like me having all these empty rooms, like they're empty anyway. So why not put them through this gift card system? And if something eventuates from it, at least something eventuates from it. It's like people are willing to be a little bit more risky on the edges or on the fringe of new ideas nowadays, is what I feel anyway.
I think there's actually a book on gift economies and like commons. I know there's a lot of books on commons. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. I read a book a little while ago, and I think they mentioned another book within it. So what kind of a referral? I read a book on commons. I forget the name of the book. And then they were talking about the gift economy and then an influencer in that space. I'll have to look into it. But have you run into anything about the gift economy, or have you studied the gift economy at all, Corey?
Yes, but I've seen it basically called other things too. I've seen I don't know if that's exactly another name for it, but I've also studied something called a resource-based economy. But the way I always deduct this down is to, there's some currencies that are backed with something and some aren't, and right now, like the dollar is not. So, okay, before the dollars, they said it was backed with gold, right? You could go to the bank and they'd give you gold if you wanted. Okay, now nobody called that barter. But if I changed gold to chickens, people say, oh, that's barter. And I'm like, no, that's just a backed currency, in my opinion. Okay. So there's kind of different ways of looking at different things. And is it a gift economy, or is it just a backed currency is something you just happen to have? I don't personally have any gold. So how am I going to start a gold backed currency? But I do have a finca now with open rooms, with open space to sleep at night, And so what's the difference between me and a central banker who backs his currency with gold? As far as
there's not many people that think like you, though. This is, like what you just said there is very, very, very on point. And I'm sure you've read about the tulip, what happened with the price of tulips and how it was really expensive. Like it's I agree. Like, why can't the store of value be chickens? And I think because everyone is so exhausted right now, a store of effort and really money is basically that. I come, spend 8 hours sitting on the computer, pretending I'm doing stuff, and you pay me a salary or a wage. It's a transfer of energy, your time for my money. And I feel like the system is exhausted of that. Working from home, bums on seats, is proving that doesn't actually equal output. So I think that's why I say before, like the universe is ready for a output-driven economy where it's like, more and more people. I see people who I never, ever thought in my life would go down this rabbit hole of exploring how the money system works, and then realizing, like, you trying to tell me it's just digits on a computer screen, and like it could just completely change tomorrow when we wake up? Yeah, that's what happened in Cyprus, and it's what happened in Zimbabwe. Like, it's not uncommon for people to just wake up one day and the governments change the currency or change the value of it. And with inflation, like there's pictures floating everywhere now where shopping trolley in the 70s, shopping trolley in the 90s, shopping trolley, last year. What about today? $20 is buying 4 coffees now, if that, so yeah. More and more people are waking up to this thing and going, is chasing money really what I want to be doing? Having things, and the whole minimalistic movement has come from that. People valuing their time more than ever in history,
Yeah.
So time, return on effort is what I always talk about. You know, I don't care about how much you're going to pay me, because it's like, if I can do something and get a good return on effort, like showing up to these calls is a good return on effort for me. I get a lot out of filling up my own cup by sharing, having these conversations that are on different wavelengths to the crap that I see on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook, you know. So this is a good return on effort. I don't get paid. None of us are making money like out of this call, but the effort put into it will pay many more dividends in connections, friendship, education, you know. So I think the world
There's
is
other
ready
forms
for
of
that
capital,
change.
right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we're overvaluing a certain pieces of capital and undervaluing others, like living capital, like the tree. We totally take advantage of the living capital of like a forest and those types of things, and the value that has, especially. And we overvalue this little piece of paper, financial, monetary value and capital, right? When it comes to things like, and in some ways, I think, yeah, we are waking up to that, like Ray is saying. And I'm hoping that's things like what you're creating, Corey, and what others are doing in this space. Like, even if someone is doing exactly what you're doing, like, I hope you just like maybe lend a little bit of time to it, put some of your own other forms of capital into helping them lift that up, right? And so we become less and less worried about the scarcity of like, oh, but now I can't do it. No, it doesn't make sense that way. Someone already else is there in that space. Wonderful. That means there's more of that into the world, right? I either go and help them lift it up, or I say I can do it better, you know, and and say, well, or you go and maybe try to help them and they don't want your help, and you go, well, I know that I can do this better, right? And now you have another piece of knowledge to go in and do that. I'm so glad that you brought this up today. Like, like we've been talking around it for a while now, and I think it makes a really good discussion. So thank you for, and other people need this conversation too. I think this needs to be repurposed in another way. Well, if you're okay with
definitely, you made the environment where I felt like bringing it out. But also, I was kind of worried. I felt like I wasn't, when I started coming to these meetings, I didn't know if this is the kind of thing you guys would want to talk about. So I kind of wanted to just get to know you guys a little bit first. But
yeah.
I'm actually surprised how much you guys understand, or how much we're on the same level as with wealth and economies and things. Because I didn't expect that out of this group when I started coming. I thought it was going to be more about growing, you know, like
and farming and stuff. And there are other groups like this, and that's why I think coming back to where we started of finding different chapters and really allowing us to have facilitators for different chapters, because we're going to want chapters that are more focused in on growing, right? And we're going to and then we're going to want chapters that are more focused in on services and those types of things, right? And so it's kind of finding your place and you know, availability and time and energy that you can put into a think tank discussion like this, where we work through our challenges together. Yeah, so we are at time. I'm just going to share really quickly what I'm getting out of this. Holy crap, I'm getting so much just like this you know, whatever you call it, this I would call it, because of my religious background, the spirit or this overwhelming, like, I just have to do this, right? Like have to create these situations where we build these chapters, regardless of if you say, you know, go F yourself and you can do this on, you can, whatever, you know, go, you're a loon or whatever. I feel so strongly that this needs to happen. I know that others feel this way too, just by this conversation right here that you're saying, right? Because people need to have this type of conversation over and over again. And we need to have entrepreneurs go through these same experiences so that we get past holding them in and not allowing them to move forward. So that was just a little bit of validation on my part. You sharing that helped me to kind of see and feel the need that we need to do this. So I will give it over to Corey to share what you're getting out of this.
I'm getting out of this more of a commitment to an abundance mentality. You know, I promote this video that I've found online. It's this guy, he says how to catch a monkey. And it talks about how when a monkey sticks his hand in a hole, makes a fist to grab whatever is in the hole, he can't pull his hand back out, and there he's trapped. And so I've promoted that to people, saying, you know, what is it? He says in the video, what is it that you're holding on to? You know, that's taking away your freedom and that. And I believe in it. And tonight's kind of one of those moments where you kind of got to say, do I just say I believe in it? Or am I going to actually do it, you know? And so.
That's awesome. It's like, yeah, it's not coincidence.
It's kind of thought I'm going to choose to walk. So
awesome.
Right.
Hey, man.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, so for me, what I get out of it is that like everyone's just working on really good projects and good wavelengths and good thinking, and it really just gives me a lot of hope that the future is bright, you know. So it's just like nothing fills my cup more than just hearing what other people are hustling on and working on, you know. And that's why I said before, like I love hanging out in these rooms, because you know, this is kind of a vice for me to fill my cup up, help other people collaborate together. And in these 90 minutes, I shut out what's happening on Facebook and Instagram and the noise, you know, that is not even really reality, but yet it's the only reality we can see. So yeah, definitely a lot of really good projects that have, you know, what you shared today has been really, really, you know, really awesome. So thank you for sharing that.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thank you. Same time next week.
Same time next week. Yeah. I will be on tomorrow too. So regeneration pollination.
Yep. I've RSVP'd. Hopefully it pops up, then I get onto it. So it's,
yeah,
should be good
tomorrow.
All right. See you guys.
Thanks you guys.
Tomorrow, hopefully.
Thank you.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.